Hello, everybody. So here we're back. And today we're going to finish the last lesson of the book. So you are going to open your books on page 160 to read the theory of cleft sentences. So we have different types, yes, different structures for cleft sentences depending on what we want to express. A cleft sentence is are two clauses in one sentence, yes, and it is used also to emphasize. So let's see the first type. In the introductory clause beginning with what or the reason why clause plus the verb be plus that clause. Let's check this in the example. So we have what I love about Gabriel is that he's always smiling. So you can see that first you have, in this case, the word what. Then we have the clause, I love about Gabriel. Then we have the verb to be, is, and then the that clause. Okay? So when my sentence starts with what, the connector in the middle is that. Now, the other option was to start with the reason why. Here, let's read the example first. The reason why I went home early was that I was feeling a little unwell. So the reason why or the reason could only be, yes, omitting the why, then the clause. In this case, I went home early. Then the verb to be, in this case, was, yes, it's in the simple past. Then the that clause, I was feeling a little unwell. Okay? Now, this was the first type. The second type, the structure is the introductory clause beginning with it plus the be clause plus that clause. So here we have examples. It is the terrible traffic and pollution. Yes, here it's the introductory clause with it. Yes, and here the verb to be is, and the clause, and then the that clause, that I don't like that city. And the other example that we have is, it was not until, or it was only when we got to the beach that we realized that the sea was dirty and cold. So here again, this is all the first introductory clause. Check that after the it, we have the verb to be, in this case in simple past. And it is also followed by this phrase, not until or only when. The meaning is the same, yes? And then to end the sentence with the that clause. Good? So what's the use of this? To put what we want to emphasize at the beginning of the sentence, yes? So it gives more importance to what comes first. Now, in cleft sentences starting with what and the reason why, we can also use a noun instead of a that clause. So let's check this noun. You can start with what I don't like about Thomas is his bad temper. His bad temper, it's a noun phrase, okay? It's not a that clause. And the other example, the reason why the holiday was a disaster was the weather. The weather, again, it's a noun phrase. It's not a that clause, okay? So that's the other structure we can use. And then in cleft sentences, starting with it is or it was, etc., we can also use a relative pronoun in place of that, okay? So you can say, it was my best friend who organized my surprise birthday party, or that organized my birthday party. In this case, as we are referring to a person, my friend, you can also replace that for who, okay? It is an option. And if you have, it was a moment which I will never forget, or it was a moment that I will never forget. If we are talking about a thing, an object, an animal, you can replace that for which. clear. Okay, so these are the new structures you have to take into account. Basically, that is what Cleft sentences is about. Hope you have understood this and taken notes. Any doubts, we'll check them in class.